Welcome to another Colors of Prog. This is Season 2, Episode 3. Why? Because you have to label these things. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to keep track. So, Colors of Prog, again, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Podbean, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Facebook as Lewis Paul, which is who I am. But the Colors of Prog program is where I discuss and review prog rock and prog rock related recordings from all around the world, from the past, the present, so on. So this episode, more eclectic releases. Jethro, Tull, live in Chicago. This is a 4-disc, and I'm going to get to that. Recent release on London Calling Records, 2022. It's a limited edition. Now, I mean, let's face it, Jethro Tull is one of the most preeminent progressive rock bands, especially in the early years. They influenced so many bands, especially from other countries, Japan, Italy, and so on and so forth. And some of Tull's recorded output is just amazing, and it keeps on getting remastered and well done. Some of those are quite well done. Aqualung, Benefit, so on. And so this live in Chicago caught my eye because I like a lot of live music I heretofore was not able to hear. I mean, I was alive at the time, but I was unaware of this tour. I was young, and I was interested, but I did not do my research. Now here, so supposedly recorded. This is the classic Tull lineup, by the way, and it was a tour of America in 1970. And this was supposed to be the last show at the Aragon Ballroom in Chicago in 1970. Now, it's attributed to being simulcast on WLIR-FM, first batch. But WLIR-FM was a Long Island radio station, so it's possible it was broadcast live on a Boston radio station and then spread out over a network at that time, and somebody recorded from WLIR. Now this has nine songs here. Now at first I thought, okay, they had a short set because three other bands fit that bill that night, including Tull. It was Cactus, including Tull was Cactus. So, and there were two lesser bands. Unfortunately, it sounds like someone recorded their simulcast on a cassette player, and over 40 years later, somebody decided to clean it up a bit and put it out on purple vinyl. All right, so let's get to this. So, I have to say the presentation is nice. It's the back cover. It's a gatefold sleeve with a the British paper Melody Maker, September 26, 1970, review of the tour. The sleeves have plastic inside the paper sleeves, providing protection, and it comes across to you guys as blue, but it's actually purple. The vinyl's quite nice looking. All right. You're probably wondering, why don't you go more in depth on everything? As I said in the previous episode, you guys would not watch beyond a few minutes. Nice touch, because there's only 9 tracks. The fourth side is blank. So what did they do? Somebody went to the trouble of... Here it is. Etched. Now, I don't know if this... There you go. That might come across. Tull playing the flute. It's actually etched on there. It's not playable. It's a blank side. But if you could see it, it's Tull playing his prize flute. So you gotta say, wow, that's a nice presentation. It's not cheap. Leave it at that. So the problem is the audio is just terrible. It's 5 to 6 at best, with an audible hiss throughout. And I thought at first, well, what a shame, because some of this stuff is so improvisational with the band, not just Hull himself. There's more to come. So I'm sitting here listening to this and like just very disappointed. So meanwhile, on the shelf facing me as I'm listening to this, I look up and I see the benefit box set, and something came to mind. So I pulled out the benefit box set. That was remixed and remastered, that album by Steven Wilson, and released in 2021. And it has so many discs. It's crazy. It's got 8 discs, including some DVD, video. So I'm just looking through this, and guess what? I find out there's the Aragon Ballroom show in much better quality, originally recorded from the soundboard done by the band's at that time engineer. Full show. Sounds much better than this bootleg. So, and it has, again, it's the full show. It's not just 9 tracks. So the big mystery is, did the people at London Calling, whoever they are, not realize this was already put out a year previous, and it's remastered by Steven Wilson of all people, and that disc, is this a standalone extra along with another live disc? I think it might have been Tanglewood. It's just crazy. So don't buy the vinyl. The sound quality is a lot to be desired. If you have the benefit box set, you already have it. If you don't have the benefit box set, so why are you watching this? Go buy it, because it's probably the best. It was the best thing I picked last year. Not for 2022, but for 2021. One of the best of releases, and a lot of people did as well. That benefit box set by Tull is just sounds great. Remix job is great, and remastered, but not remixed. They had that extra disc, and as I said, live stuff. So I don't know why this was maybe to fool people like myself and others out there. I'm sure other people bought this. So anyway, that's that. Jethro Tull, the Live in Chicago 1970 tour. So next I have Ibis, or Ibis. It's a nice release. Sounds quite good. This is on Polydor. So this goes out to all the new Trolls fans. Nico DiPaolo, who formed the band New Trolls with Vittorio Discalzi, was arguing with him over the direction of the band at some point in time. He split the band with other members. Right after the recording of UT in 1972. They weren't called Ibis or Ibis at first, but Nico, Gianni, Frank, and Maurizio was the name of the band attributed on that album. That album, released in 1973, was considered heavy prog. You could hear some of the more out there sound DiPaolo was going for on the live music for the New Trolls' Searching for Land. One side of Searching for Land was recorded live at an Italian festival. It was released in 72. And it just had some really out there, psychedelic, almost jazzy, improvisational moments. And I'm not sure that's what Vittorio Discalzi was trying to go for. So it's probably led to the split after the recording of the Ut album, which may or may not have been recorded before Searching for Land was released. So, so there's no keyboards here. It's guitar, drum, bass. I believe there was no keyboards. I'm pretty sure. And so, what does this sound like? This sounds like lots of sunny California rock, mostly done in the style of the time, early 70s. Really tasty and tasteful guitar playing, and of course, Nico DiPaolo's very recognizable voice, which runs a little high, familiar from his new Trolls tenure. Dedicated to Janis Joplin, one of the songs sounds like a good idea, a tribute song, but it ends up just repeating a bluesy riff and loops repeatedly from Piece of My Heart. So there's something I wanted to see. We're going to do this live. I keep some of my more rare items in plastic. Yes, I do. Okay, I was right. There are no keyboards. We have two guitar players, including Nico DiPaolo, Renzo Totoro on guitar and vocals, Frank Lagallo on bass, and Pasquale Vendadito on bass and vocals. So I just wanted to get that straight and not confuse anyone, because I like to know what I'm talking about. Yes, because one of the key factors in New Trolls was the keyboard sound, mixed in with the singing and the guitar playing. So now, what do I think about this? As I said, it's almost like sunny California rock. Some of it in English and some of it in Italian, and I'm not really negative about it. It's just not a thrilling album to have. But interestingly enough, by 1976, DiPaolo and Discalzi reunited for Concerto Grosso Number 2, which I liked. And although New Trolls was not a very prolific band after that, among their among their very best recordings was Concerto Grosso, The Seven Seasons, and that was released in 2007. And I believe that is among their very best. So Ibis, or Ibis, depends on the pronunciation. That's that. Frumpy. Crazy stuff, Frumpy. The front, that's the back. Nice gatefold sleeve. And this is a German release. So Frumpy, this is Frumpy Live, by the way. Oh yes, Frumpy Live. See, Frumpy Live. Frumpy were founded in Hamburg, Germany in 1970. And they were on hiatus between 73 and 89, disbanded in 95. Inga Rumpf. Pardon me, Inga, I'm very sorry. Inga Rumpf, R-U-M-P-F, still performs. And you can find on YouTube recent performances from her at various events, festivals, and etc. So, wow, what a history this band has had. They were originally formed as a folk band in the 60s by an Irishman living in Germany. They were called the City Preachers. And they popped up in 65, thereabouts, gaining some recognition playing. It's a large band, mostly singing in English in Germany. So I think there were like 10 members, maybe 12. But by 1970, some members split and became Frumpy. But there were several female singers, and Inga Rumpf was one of them. So amazingly, Frumpy, with its quirky, bluesy take on progressive chordal structures, toured often around the world. This is true. They toured with bands like Mata Hopel, Humble Pie. I can see that, because they have a bit of that pie sound. Yes, and others. Yes. By 1972, they disbanded, and Rumpf co-founded the band Atlantis, which she left thereafter, which continued on without her. So Frumpy Live. actually contains 7 live cuts and 2 unreleased studio tunes, all sung in English. Inga's voice, her vocals are deep but rocking. So think Nico or Marianne Faithfull, but not quite, but almost. And the songs are rooted in rhythm and blues with a touch of something else. Maybe a bluesy jam band with progressive rock leanings? It could be at a stretch. And all of their tunes are long. 3 are at 12 minutes and 2 at 20 minutes and so on. So they're an experience. And there's some Frumpy live stuff on YouTube. Not shilling for YouTube, guys, but I'm telling you, if you want to hear some music and you want to see any footage of the band played live, I think it was on Beat Club. They're worth checking out. And that album isn't bad. And the audio was pretty good. Now we're going to go way out. The Buggles. Yes, the Buggles. Age of Plastic and Adventures in Modern Recording. Age of Plastic, 1980. Adventures in Modern Recording, 1981. This is the first Buggles album. And that's our dear friend Jeff, Flip It, Trevor Horn. So, the Buggles were a synth band founded by bassist, singer, and keyboardist Trevor Horn and keyboard player Jeff Downes in 1977. More bouncy, quirky new wave with its bubbling, percolating synthesizers. Age of Plastic only has 8 tunes, 4 true side, and they aren't that long either. I mean, nowadays we're used to listening to some progressive rock stuff, recordings, and okay, I could see there's only 8 songs. They're 15 minutes long. 17. These things are 4 to 5 minutes long. However, prior to the release of Age of Plastic, it's a tongue twister. Prior to the release of Age of Plastic, they released a single in 1979 called Video Killed the Radio Star. And if you don't know that song, you're unaware. It was the song that kicked off MTV about a year later. So they're infamous for that, most famous for that. So anyway, there's a Yes connection. If you don't know that, well, but there is. So the Video Killed the Radio Star went to #1 in approximately 15 countries as a single. So then they released this album in 1980. Whoops, he's upside down. Oh, Jeff Downes. So after the album came out, Trevor Horn and Jeff Downes joined Yes. Apparently, Yes were recording an album with a tour booked later that year, but relationships soured within the band. And Horn and Downes joined on lead vocals, keyboards, and Horn would again work later on with Yes over the years as a producer and later as a singer. It's a convoluted story. So, oddly enough, there is no other performers listed on the first Buggles album, Age of Plastic, except Jeff Downes and Trevor Horn. But I can't imagine just 2 guys create this whole thing. I mean, Horn's really good in the studio, but if that was the case, okay, maybe. They only stayed with Yes 1 year or so, and then they recorded a second album, Adventures in Modern Recording. And interesting thing around here is that, so I try to backtrack a little bit. Horn and Downes also appeared on the studio album Drama, considered by many to be one of the better Yes albums. Even though John Anderson's not on it, yes, we know, we get it. It's actually a quite good album. So one of the songs on there, Into the Lens, appears on here as I Am a Camera. It's also another song that was composed for that Yes album, didn't make the final cut, the drama album that also appears on here. And here's the thing though. Jeff Downs left midway through recording the follow up album. There's the back cover. And joined Asia, which is the band some of the guys from Yes jumped into um, during another down period for Yes. Um, Not as doesn't have a single as catchy as Video Killed a Radio Star. What would? I Am a Camera is very familiar to people who know Into the Lens from Drama. Um, it's quite good too. It also winds up being one of the better songs on here. But Jeff Downs only appears on some of the songs on here, not all of them, because as I said, he left to join Asia. So now Trevor Horn would pop back around in 1983 and 87, and he co-produced with Yes when Trevor Rabin joined the band and Steve Howe decided to opt out for 90125 and Big Generator, giving them a big sound. Very successful, at least 90125 was. Big Generator, not as much, but 90125, as I said previously, has so many singles on it. Even if it's not Yes, what album from any band, popular band, had so many singles on it at that time? Whitney Houston excluded. He would also become, Trevor Horn would also become amazingly popular working with other bands as a producer and performer, including ABC. Poison Arrow was a big hit. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And Seal. Kiss to a Rose, that Seal song, Trevor Horn produced and co-wrote that. He also formed Art of Noise in 1990, sorry. And he returned to Yes for Fly From Here, 2011, and working with Benoit David, Yes's then singer, studio album. Trevor Horn composed some of the music and lyrics for that album. And in 2018, in conjunction and with Yes's permission, they released Fly From Here Return Trip, which removes Benoit David's vocals and replaces them with Trevor Horn's own vocals, I believe of the time, as guiding tracks or re-recorded. So you actually have two albums called Fly From Here. If you have an open mind, they're both very good. So that's that. Oh yeah. So the Buggles, Blast from the Past. Anytime you see a history of music videos, that song comes up. It was the first music video, so that we know of, and the first music video that introduced music television, MTV, back in the day. Amazingly catchy song. He sings it, speaks it through a vocoder, which is something he did on Fly From Here, actually, and on one song on Drama. So there's that. Very interesting. I like all kinds of music, so it was nice to listen to the Buggles after a while. I was like, hey, this is great for comparisons. So yeah, today's show was, did I use that word, eclectic? The Disappointing Jethro Tull live in Chicago on purple vinyl. Do not buy this. It's on the benefit box set. Ibis, the new Trolls related project. Very good. Frumpy, live. Yeah. Cool hard rock, and if you like your German girls blonde and crazy, that's it. And we have the Buggles, and Jeff Downs, bless his soul. He still looks great nowadays. They both do. Actually, Trevor Horn, I noticed recently came out of a vacuum of space and has been posting a lot on Facebook and has recently appeared at a few festivals and music events. So he's gearing up for some sort of production, and be nice to hear from him again because he's certainly a talented guy. That's Colors of Prog for today. Thanks for listening.